Hello and welcome back to 100 Yards of Football Sports Talk Radio. I am your producer, Jeremiah Long, and joining me to talk about the AFC Championship between the Cincinnati Bengals and the Kansas City Chiefs is our host, Mr. Logan Landers. How's it going, man?
What's going on, man? We're getting near the end of football season, unfortunately, but we just talked about the NFC Championship, and now we're going over to the AFC, see which one of these teams are going to be in the Super Bowl. It's going to be a great matchup between two high-flying offenses. I can't wait to get into it.
Absolutely. And for everybody watching us live or watching our replay or listening to our podcast, thank you so much for joining us. And thank you so much for sharing a word about 100 yards of football by word of mouth with your friends and family. It's actually you telling your friends and family, hey, are you listening to 100 yards of football? Hey, are you guys watching 100 yards of football? All of those things. And we keep getting great feedback from our people. All of those types of shares where you physically just tell your friends and family about our show. That's how we've been able to grow so quickly and so much. It isn't all about social media. It's about the people telling other people about stuff that they love. So thank you, every single person, so much. And thank you individually for all of your contributions to our show by sharing it and talking about it. Well, Mr. Logan Landers, I know our audience is psyched for this because we just had two incredible games to get us to this point between the Bengals and then the Chiefs. And now they get to face off with each other. We've got the underdog story. We've got the Chiefs coming in ready to go hard. Just incredible football being played. We know this is going to be a great game. So break it down for us and let us know, what do the fandom for Cincinnati and Kansas City have to look forward to?
Man, I want to talk about the Bengals first, right? Joe Burrow and the Bengals are doing something magical right now. They had a tough win against the Tennessee Titans, but they were able to pull it out nonetheless. Joe Burrow, heck of a day. Somehow he's able to limp off the field. And I say that because he went 28 of 37 passing, 348 yards, didn't have a touchdown, one interception, and he was sacked 9 times throughout the ball game. So, he is hurting right now on this Monday that we are recording this. I don't care who you are. That was a playoff record, getting sacked 9 times. And, man, that's always been the one concern with the Bengals, is that their offensive line isn't the best. And, against the Titans, they were really able to expose that. So we'll see how the Chiefs can play into that this upcoming weekend. But nonetheless, with the Bengals, they did get the win, 19-16. The running game didn't have a whole lot going on. Joe Mixon, 14 of 54. Didn't have a touchdown, though. But not a whole lot going, only a little bit under 4 yards a carry. But for the receiving corps, man, of course, Jamar Chase, one of the best, probably one of the top rookies that was drafted in the draft this past year, 5 catches, 109 yards. And also T. Higgins, 7 catches for 96. And they were just doing their thing, right? They were chipping away at the lead, getting some yardage there. And they were able to get the win. It was a good game all around. The defense was able to, like I said, for the Titans, who had Derrick Henry come back, he didn't look like himself. He still looked like he was still a little bit hobbled. But defense did fine, right? Logan Wilson led the lead with 8 tackles on the day. Great first name, by the way. They only got 1 sack thanks to Von Bell. DJ Reader's doing some work. They were able to get 3 interceptions off of Ryan Tannehill, which was a key factor in them getting the win. Mike Hilton, Logan Wilson, and Jesse Bates III were responsible for all of those interceptions. And honestly, I think that if Ryan Tannehill and the Titans, if they were able to keep it a little bit more clean, they probably should have won this ball game. So, you sacked Joe Burrow 9 times. It was a low-scoring game. They won on a walk-off field goal from, I believe, 50 some odd yards. But if you were able to keep the ball clean, like I said, not throw those 3 interceptions, it could have been a different ball game. Because Tannehill did a solid. He had, besides the 3 picks, had a solid day. 15 to 24, 220 yards, and a touchdown on the day. Only able to get sacked once. Like I said, Henry didn't have a whole lot. 20 carries for 62 yards. But you got to understand that he was hurt, but he was gonna. He had to play this game. Obviously, see if they can get to the AFC Championship. Dante Foreman, I feel like he could have got the ball a little bit more, only 4 carries for him, but it was 4 carries for 66 yards. So I feel like they could have maybe handled the ball to him a little bit more. The receiving corps for Tennessee did great. 5 catches for 142 yards for A.J. Brown, former Atlanta Falcon. Julio Jones got on the fun as well. 6 catches for 62. And like I said, the game that the Bengals had, big shout out to Evan McPherson, the kicker. 4 of 4 for field goals, including the game winner, like I said. So he was responsible for 13 of the 19 points on the day. for the Bengals. So if one for him, right, then they would not be in this position fighting for the AFC Championship. And I was looking around, and whenever they were saying that, they were going to go kick the field goal to try and get the win, he was doing his warm-ups, right? McPherson's doing his warm-ups. His nickname's Money, so he's got to be good. And he said, hey, we're about to go to the AFC Championship before he even kicked it. So you got to love that confidence, right, in the kicker they just drafted out of Florida this past season. So he got that kick right down the middle and sent the Tennessee Titans home packing in a bit of an upset. And, Joe Burrow and the Bengals are now going to the AFC Championship to fight the Kansas City Chiefs, who probably had the game of the year last night. I mean, like I said, all 4 games in the divisional round were amazing. 3 of the 4 ended in a game-winning field goal, and this is the only exception because this one went into overtime. The Bills and the Chiefs, Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes, was exactly the battle we all wanted it to be. 2 of the top quarterbacks in the NFL throwing for a bunch of yards. Mahomes for 378, Allen for 329. Allen had 4 touchdowns, no interceptions. Mahomes had 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. It was everything you could ever dream of between 2 of the top quarterbacks, and they were able to get it done. Receiving game, Tyreek Hill obviously was a big factor. 11 catches, 150 yards on the day for him with 1 touchdown. Travis Kelce, the big tight end, one of the top tight ends of football, 8 catches for 96 and a score. Byron Pringle got in with a touchdown also. Also, Jerick McKinnon had 5 catches for 54 yards. And, Patrick Mahomes just threw the ball all over the place. But, the Bills had a great – they played pretty much a perfect ball game. Big shout-out to Gabriel Davis, though. 8 catches, 201 yards, and 4 touchdowns receiving for him. That's a new playoff record. Unfortunately, couldn't come up with the win, but his name is now in the history books for the most touchdowns by a receiver in a playoff game, I believe. So, big shout-out to him. Cole Beasley did his thing, 6 catches for 60 yards. And it was, like I said, it was back and forth. And, there wasn't a whole lot of defense being played. Let's just be real here. It was 42-36. So both the defenses were tired, especially in the fourth quarter in overtime. In the fourth quarter, Buffalo scored 15 points. Kansas City scored 13. So, it was just back and forth, the action. It was amazing. There's a close score at the end there by the Bills. The Chiefs had 13 seconds left in regulation to drive down the entire length of the field, get a touchdown, and just tie, right? Just to tie the game. Patrick Mahomes, fan, what more can you say? He was able to do it. There's a reason he's a former MVP, reason they got a Super Bowl championship. He did it, and, man, it was a crazy sequence. Went to overtime, and they marched right down the field, got another touchdown, and sent the Bills home packing. I just think the defense was just too gassed. They were tired. They're on the field for a lot. I think under the 2-minute warning, Mahomes threw for over 100 some on yards, which is crazy. So that just lets you know how the offensive explosion was able to happen for both of these teams. And this is a game we're going to talk about for many years, right? In one of the better playoff games in the 2020s, right? In this decade, and especially in this season. But a really good job for the Chiefs moving on. But if they want to get the win, obviously, like I think, they need to get the Joe Burrow. We saw that offensive line has some holes in it. You're going to need some guys to step up. They got 2 sacks against Allen, thanks to Frank Clark and also Chris Jones. You're going to have both those guys have some good games. But we'll also see what guys like Daniel Sorensen, L'Jarius Sneed, Nick Bolton, Jaron Reed, Travarius Ward, Willie Gay, and some other guys, what they can do for the Chiefs to ensure a victory and move on to yet another Super Bowl and perhaps get another win. We'll have to see. That they lost last year to the Buccaneers. They got knocked out already, so we'll see if they can get back to the Super Bowl. And I think they will. So that is why I think the final score in this one will be, like I said, I want these games to be close. That's why I picked these scores to be as close as I want them to be. So I think the Kansas City Chiefs will get a final score of 33, and the Cincinnati Bengals with a score of 30. I want another great game. I want another showdown between 2 of the top quarterbacks in the league. And I just think the Chiefs, I think the offensive line for the Bengals is going to hurt them this game. They're able to pull out the victory last week. I don't think they're going to be able to do it this week. I think their Cinderella story might be coming to an end. But, if they win, it would not surprise me at all. You got to love the confidence over there. Great head coaching for the Bengals and nothing to hang their head about. But I just think the Chiefs have a little bit better team right now. Like I said, they have that postseason experience. The Bengals do not. Coach Andy Reid and all of them. And I just think that the Chiefs are going to get the close win in this one. Like I said, 33-30 is my final score. Moving on to the Super Bowl. And like I said, go check out the NFC video we did to see who the Chiefs will be facing.
That's right. Yeah, exciting games from all of these teams. We will all be extremely happy to see any of these teams end up in the Super Bowl. I personally would love to see the Bengals get there because it's such a great Cinderella story. The Kansas City Chiefs have worked so hard this season, so they still deserve it as well. And then between San Francisco and the LA Rams, it's just going to be an incredible Super Bowl and an incredible couple of games still coming up. So for everybody watching, tell us, what do you think the final score will be between the Cincinnati Bengals and the Kansas City Chiefs? Put it in the comments and let us know. Also, let us know, what do you think? Who will finally be in the Super Bowl for this year? We want to know. One thing I can tell you is that I know one person that's going to be in the Super Bowl in a commercial, and that's my roommate. So I'm very excited to see. So when you're watching the commercials, I won't say exactly which commercial because I don't know if I'm supposed to, but my roommate is in a commercial for the Super Bowl. So while you're watching the Super Bowl, just know that somewhere out there, you're going to be seeing my roommates. And we're also very proud of him for all his really hard work at being an actor. So I at least know one person that'll be at the Super Bowl. Yeah. But besides that, the teams, we will determine the teams in the next few games, and we'll have some great times with all that coming up. So if you're watching us live, thank you so much. And if you're listening to our podcast, thank you again. But if you're not listening to our podcast, come and join us. 100 Yards of Football. You can look it up anywhere that you listen to podcasts, whether it's on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, on Overcast, Amazon, or anywhere that you listen to podcasts. You can find us. Just look up 100 Yards of Football and you'll see our 50-yard line football. So that's all you got to do. We have over 600 episodes. Most of them are evergreen, where you can listen to them anytime that you want, including great interviews with classic players, breakdowns of historic games, previews of recruiting classes, game previews, and keeping you up on what's going on in the world of football right now. So that's one of our huge things that we do, and we're so happy to have you over there. So thank you so much for spreading by word of mouth to your friends and family. Well, you've been watching our AFC Championship breakdown between the Cincinnati Bengals and the Kansas City Chiefs. I'm your producer, Jeremiah Long, and our host, Logan Landers, and I will